Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video is going to be on the Leupold Deltapoint Pro micro red dot. Alright, like I mentioned, this is the Leupold Deltapoint Pro mounted on my Smith and Wesson M&P 2.0 compact, optics ready. If you haven't seen the video, I'll leave a link somewhere up here for you guys to check it out. But let's start from the back here. As you guys can see, it does not co-witness with my suppressor height sights. That goes true with a lot of other sights if you're going to mount the Deltapoint Pro, just given the fact that the body back here is a little bigger. The Deltapoint Pro does have a little cutout back here for you to add a iron sight that is separate from Leupold. I believe they're like 80 bucks. Basic installation, there's two little Allen screws here. You unscrew that on each side, pop this little plastic piece out, install the new iron sight in, and you're good to go. Just make sure you guys get the front side there is tall enough for that as well. Moving forward, it does have the elevation adjustment here and the windage on the side. One MOA clicks at 100 yards. If anyone doesn't know what that means, at 100 yards, when you move this one click either up or down, it's going to move the dot 1 inch up or down. Same goes with the elevation here. It's going to move it 1 inch left or right. One thing to note about the Deltapoint Pro here is that the adjustments are super audible and you can hear it and you can feel every click, which is nice. Moving on top, Leupold does provide you with screws to mount this onto your firearm, but the ones provided were too big for the slide here. But the nice thing about the Smith and Wesson Optics Ready package, that it does come with screws provided for most of the optics. So I ended up using the screws from Smith and Wesson, and those work just fine. One tip I've learned is putting witness marks onto the screws here. That way if they were to back out, you are able to tell. So next up, you do have the battery tray door here. It's on the side here. Basically, there's a little latch. You pop that open, and the battery latch opens up. Takes a standard 2032 battery. You can find it at any Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, Target, online. They're relatively pretty cheap, and it is magnetized, which is nice. So there's the battery tray. Let's pop the battery in. It holds it up in place, push it down, and then you just close this little guy right back up. Along the battery tray door, that is also the adjustments for the brightness settings. There are no other buttons on the Deltapoint Pro here for you to adjust the brightness settings besides this little button on top here. So to adjust the brightness settings, it's pretty simple. Push this button in here to make it go brighter, and it only goes one way. So once it hits the maximum brightness setting, it'll start flashing. When it does that, if you push it again, the brightness will go down. Let's just say if you're pushing the button and you're at setting number 5 and you want to go back down without cycling all the way through, you can actually hold this button for 2 seconds, it'll flash again, and then you can push the button again and then it'll go back down. So you don't have to go all the way up and then go all the way down. Another cool feature about this sight is that it does have a metal shroud around here to protect the lens. You can see the little air gap there. That's where the shroud sits. I believe you can take it off if you want, but I recommend not to. Coating on the front lens here, it's like an orange yellowish tint. It's not too bad compared to other optics on the market, and the clarity on this is amazing. So let's talk about some cons about this red dot. One of them being that the sight is really tall, so even with factory suppressor height sights, you're not going to be able to co-witness. As I mentioned before, Leupold did solve that with an integrated rear mount you can buy for this. There's another company, I forgot what they're called, but it's for like 10 bucks shipped. You can actually just get an insert that goes right inside of here as well. It has two little posts that allows you to co-witness through the window just in case if your optic was to ever fail. Another con that I've heard of is the battery life. I've only had this for roughly 2 weeks now. I read online that the battery life can last anywhere from 2 months to 6 months to 2 weeks. So depending on your usage, that can vary. Another feature that Leupold has is the shake awake technology on this. So if you set this down for 5 minutes, it'll put itself to sleep, and then once you pick it up, it'll turn back on. Only time will tell for the battery life, but like I said, this does have a standard 2032 battery, so just buy like 6 or 7 of them. and switch it out every 2 months. Those are the only cons I can think of, honestly. Like I said, I've only had this for 2 weeks, so I haven't put it through its full paces yet, but so far it's been pretty good. I did sight this in at 25 yards. I'll drop in a picture here of the group size. As you guys can see, it is pretty accurate. The gun is more accurate than I ever will be, but that was from a sandbag at 25 yards. But enough of me talking, let's get out shooting this guy. Alright, as you guys saw, that was the Deltapoint Pro in action. My overall first impressions on this optic is that it's great. For the money, for all the features you're getting, and a great company that stands behind the products, I highly recommend this optic. I know I've only had this for a few weeks, but so far it's been great. This is my daily carry, so I'm going to put more rounds through it just to make sure everything functions right. But leave a comment down below on what type of red dot you guys use, or if you guys prefer irons over red dots, and which red dot you're using and why. I want to hear what you guys run on a daily basis compared to other red dots. If you guys had any problems with Deltapoint Pro, leave it in the comment section down below. And one last thing before you guys go, hit that subscribe button down below, also the notification bell. And until next time, you guys be safe.